There are 4 more days until Election Day, and a record number of Minnesota voters are casting their ballots early.
The Secretary of State says early voting is up 142% from the last midterm election 4 years ago. If you add up the number of people who received a ballot in the mail, voted early, or requested an absentee ballot, it totals more than 580,000 Minnesotans. So is all this activity going to translate into more people voting on Election Day? I don't know. That's why Esme's here to kind of break it down.
All right. Well, Frank and Amelia, I can tell you this. Experts say more people are voting early because they've gotten used to the law that was passed in 2014 that allows for early voting. But most experts are predicting the final turnout will definitely be more than the 50% we saw in the last midterm election in 2014. We went to Washington County, where we saw a steady stream of early voters in Woodbury and Stillwater. But it's like this across the state. One of the biggest surges is in Hennepin County.
We have seen an incredible increase in the number of people voting absentee for this election compared to 4 years ago. So over a 300% increase in terms of the number of absentee ballots at this point in the election cycle.
Analysts say if that trend holds, it could be a good sign for Democrats, especially embattled Attorney General candidate Keith Ellison, whose current congressional district includes all of Hennepin County.
Keith Ellison needs an enormous turnout from his old district, 5th District, to be able to win the election.
Here in Hennepin County and across the state, workers have begun opening absentee ballots and putting them into machines. And while these ballots are technically being counted, the totals are not being added up for now.
The law allows us to start this process of running the ballots through the ballot counters prior to election day, but we're not allowed to actually run the result numbers until after the polls have closed on election night.
So at 8 o'clock on election night, the moment the polls close, all of those totals from all of those absentee ballots will be tallied. Now, you might be thinking that should mean earlier results. Well, the answer is not necessarily, because some counties like to hold the results so they can release almost all of them all together. Some counties, though, will release those early results very quickly. So it should make it easier and quicker, but not necessarily.
500,000 people voting, you think it would just be an easier process for all the rest of us on Tuesday.
Yes.
So, all right.
Thanks,
Interesting.
Esme.
We'll see.